Hey guys, welcome back to another great game of CEDH. Starting us off is Drew on Niv-Mizzet Perun. This is a classic blue-red spellslinger deck. While Niv does have a pretty hefty CMC, he's a real menace the second he lands, and has quite a few 2-card combos with the commander itself, so he's always a force to be reckoned with. Next up is Cedh on Rakdos, Lord of Riots. And while the deck certainly has some heavy hitters, this is actually a Rakdos combo deck, using Rakdos' cost-reducing ability to combo with cards such as Ancestral Statue while Rakdos beats face. In the third spot is Hidden Planet X on Sythis, Harvest Hand. This is Selesnya Enchantress. Aiming to combo off a little bit faster, it uses Sythis as a value engine, while relying on good value enchantments and excessive mana ramp to get some cheeky wins out of nowhere. And bringing up the rear is Craig on Zirda the Dawnwaker. Deciding to go from companion to command zone, this Boros deck aims to stax up the board while combo killing players off Basalt Monolith or Grim Monolith and an outlet. Alright, block there, kill that. Oh, that is trample. Guess I'm just dead on board. Hey guys, we have another spicy game to show you, with some uncommon commanders. And what can I say, other than these decks are just built different. Just because something is uncommon doesn't mean they're any less powerful. And they can have some really cool, uncommon win cons. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that I'll be at MagicCon Chicago next week. So if you're also attending, please let me know so we can get some games of CEDH in. But without further ado, let's get on to the gameplay. Cedh has a Gemstone Cavern, exiling a Skirk Prospector. Drew starts off the game with an Urza Saga and a Sol Ring. Cedh plays a Polluted Delta, cracking the fetch for Badlands, ending his turn with a Reckless Barbarian. Hidden plays and cracks an Arid Mesa. He finds a Savannah's land and then casts a Chrome Mox, imprinting a Seal of Primordial, which then gives him the 2 mana needed for Sythis, as he hands the turn over after that. Craig plays a Mountain and casts a Mana Crypt, tapping the Crypt to pay for a Talisman of Conviction. Still not done, he casts a Sol Ring and then takes 1 as he casts a land tax. Drew untaps, draws, and gets another lore counter. He plays a command tower as land and for 3 casts a Rhystic Study. Cedh has an Arid Mesa and ends up bolting himself as he grabs out an untapped Blood Crypt. He then casts a Talisman of Indulgence.
I could kill it, or we could all just, play responsibly.
It is taxes.
That,
I would expect
you'd be, I think, the first person to do that.
Yeah, I might be the only one.
Taxes.
With Cedh ending his turn, sending the Barbarian at Drew for 2. Hidden plays a Marsh Flats, cracking the fetch. He grabs out an untapped Temple Gardens. Hidden then casts an Argothian Enchantress and pays for the Rhystic tax. Craig is safe from his crypt and triggers his land tax. He grabs 2 plains and a mountain to hand. He plays a plains as land for turn and then casts his commander Zirda. He then follows that up with a Staff of Domination. Drew draws a card for turn. He floats a mana before searching out a card with the Urza Saga. He ends up finding a Mox Opal. He plays an island as land for turn and then a Jeweled Lotus, tapping his Mox for blue before sacrificing the Lotus to help cast his commander Niv-Mizzet. The commander resolves, but at his end step, Cedh casts Red Elemental Blast, targeting the Niv to destroy it. This puts a Rhystic and Niv trigger on the stack, with Drew drawing 2 and shooting down Cedh's Barbarian.
So, can I kill it?
Please say you can kill it. Please. Pretty please, with a cherry on top.
I'm gonna cast Deflect Swat.
This only hits a blue permanent. There's only one other blue permanent.
I know, it feels so bad. Now I feel like the stupidest blue player.
Wait a
I
second.
will draw off Niv-Mizzet. I will deal a damage to your face.
CJ has an emergent zone as land.
And I will probably do... You know what? This is a terrible thing to do, but also...
Toxic Deluge for 5.
No, it's something much more stupid. Because I have 2 cards in hand, and my one creature is bad.
Don't wheel. Don't. No.
Oh my God, don't do
Don't do that. Don't do that.
This also triggers Niv to draw and ping Zirda. The wheel then resolves, and there's now 7 Niv triggers, which he uses to kill the rest of the creatures and bolt CJ. CJ then casts an Imperial Seal. He gives another card to Drew and takes a damage, with Drew responding by paying 2 life into a mental misstep, drawing off Niv and this time pinging Hidden. Hidden has a sad gemstone cavern and then casts a wild growth on a savannah. He gets to draw off his enchantress and then follows it up with an open the armory. Niv triggers and Hidden takes 1. Hidden finds a Kenrith's transformation off the search, casting the enchantment to try and stop the dragon. And surprisingly, it resolves, with Hidden drawing 1 off the cast and 1 off the ETB, with Hidden discarding a land due to hand size. Greg takes 3 from his crypt and plays a Battlefield Forge's land. 3 mana then gets him a Boromir, and he follows it up with a Blood Moon, passing after that. Drew casts a Felwar Stone, and then plays another basic island, discarding 2 cards to hand size. CJ has a Prismatic Mountain, and for 2 dashes in a Ragavan. He then heads to combat and sends the monkey at Hidden, who takes the hit, exiling a Null Rod off the top. CJ decides to not cast it and gains a treasure, with him on his second main taking 1 to Demonic Tutor. He finds a card to hand and then follows it up with a Dockside Extortionist, although Drew does have a response as he casts an Arcane Denial to stop the Goblin, with CJ then ending his turn cracking his treasure for a Blood Pet. Hidden untaps and CJ gets to draw 2, with Drew drawing 1. Hidden then plays a Snow-Covered Plains and for 2 casts a Dranith Magistrate, following that up with a Green Sun Zenith, where X equals 2. But Drew has even more responses as he swan songs it. But Hidden is determined to tutor as he casts his Sylvan Tutor.
It is the 2-drop person, the Sanctum, I want to say. Right? Unless it's... Well, let me double check. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't have enough for Elish Norn. Right? I don't have enough for Elish Norn. I don't have enough for Elish Norn. Do I have enough for an Elish Norn? Yeah, I doubt it would Vol is super great on this board stage. Yes, let's put an Elish Norn on top. That way I can beat you down with a 4/4 flying bird. But I'm gonna be done after that.
Greg takes another 3 from his crypt and casts a Conqueror's Flail. He equips the flail onto Boromir, and heading to combat, he sends the legend at Hidden for 4, passing after that. Drew has a Flooded Mountain and casts a Usury, Fortune's Flame. CJ has a basic Swamp and then casts a Burgi, following that up with a Necropotence. The enchantment resolves with him gaining a red off the Burgi. CJ then pays 8 life into the Necro. He uses his floating red to cast Ragavan, gaining another red and then passing phases to his end step to get his 8 Necro cards, having to discard a few into exile due to hand size. Hidden draws his Elish Norn, but is short on white mana, and instead recasts his commander Sythis. He gets to draw off his Enchantress, and then plays a Prismatic Mountain as land for turn, ending his turn with an Avacyn's Pilgrim. Craig takes another 3 from his crypt, and then plays a Scalding Mountain, tapping 4 for a Goblin Cannon. Drew starts off with combat, sending Usury at CJ, with Drew going for gold, naming 5 off Usury.
Evens is a win.
Evens.
Evens wins my first. That's 1.
High five.
Are we still streaming?
Oh, wait, one
Nice,
second.
Steve.
Yeah.
You're the savior with
Shit,
your
shit,
lights.
shit, 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 shit.
Yeah, we're fine. Keep playing, Steve.
You got it, Steve. You got it.
Oh, actually, sorry, no, not all the places lost power.
We're good. We're winning.
Because there's no backup battery on that one.
Nice. Okay, so I have one win.
Yep, you got one win.
Oh, there's
One loss.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I just keep going.
Yep. 2 losses.
3 losses. All of them were wins. We have like, oh my god.
1
4
win.
losses.
So I get 1 draw.
One draw
I
and
take
you
8 life.
take 8.
If you lose the
What?
flip,
That didn't seem that way.
Well, luck wasn't in his favor, as he plays a Scalding Mountain and then casts his own Ragavan. CJ untaps and skips his draw. He plays a Spire of Mountains and then a Diabolic Intent, sacrificing the monkey. But it's Craig who has the response, as he flashes in an Aven Mind Sensor.
what kind of person are you?
An a-hole? I'm not gonna lie to you.
Like, I've got something in my hand. I can't stop a mind
I'm in
sensor.
Boros. I get to do as much as I'm able.
CJ ends up finding a card in the top 4, and with the help of his Burgy mana, casts the One Ring. The ring resolves and gives him protection, with him ending his turn paying 6 life into Necro and discarding a few cards into exile due to hand size. Hidden has an Horizon Mountain as land and casts a Stony Silence. He has 2 draw triggers on the stack and then follows that up with a Rest in Peace. He draws 2 more cards and, continuing his advantage engine, casts a Sylvan Library. He draws 2 and then casts an Earthcraft. Hidden has 2 more draw triggers, but responding to this, Drew sacks a mountain to Thunderclap Hidden's Dranith. The creature dies and Hidden draws 2 more. Hidden then taps his creatures to cast an On Thin Ice. Hidden draws 2 and decides to hit the Aven. Hidden is still not done, as he taps more creatures for a Moonblessed Cleric. Hidden had originally thought there was a Squirrel's Nest, but not seeing it, he grabs out a Hollowed Haunting to put on top. Craig is finally safe from his crypt and triggers his land tax. He grabs out the 2 remaining planes in his deck, and plays one of them as land for turn, with him ending his turn with a Grand Abolisher. Drew once again heads straight to combat, sending Usury at Hidden. He names 5 again and just rolls them all at once. This time he takes 6 and draws 2 cards, with him on his second main playing a Great Hall of the Mountains as land for turn, ending his turn with a Spellskite. CJ on his turn casts a Plague Spitter. He gains a red and then pitches 4 life into the Necro. Next up is an Ancestral Statue, which bounces his One Ring. He decides though he wants to hold up his mana instead, as he heads to end step and gets his Necro cards, discarding a few more due to hand size. Hidden decides to take 8 from his Sylvan, and unfortunately is still missing a basic forest, as he goes into the tank thinking over his turn. He starts off his turn with a Cloudstone Curio into a Collector Oof, which triggers the Curio to bounce his Cleric. He then replays his Cleric by tapping his creatures. He finds a Fertile Ground to put on top and then casts a Flickering Ward on his bird. He has 2 draw triggers, and when the aura enters, names blue. He then casts his Fertile Ground on his basic plains and draws 2 more cards. Hidden can then tap the plains for a green and a white to cast a Llanowar Elves. This puts a Curio trigger on the stack to bounce his Pilgrim. He then taps his Pilgrim to untap a basic and then can cycle through the 2 dorks for infinite white mana. This will then let him bounce his Flickering Ward to draw most of his deck until he finds a Blind Obedience, which he then can continue the loop to extort out his opponents, winning him the game. Game review. Well, it looks like enchantments got there. I think overall some things that lined up well for Hidden were the Blood Moon. Well, it did stop him from casting Elish. It really didn't hurt him as much as CJ, who revealed after the game kept a Pyroblast and a Ricochet Trap, which didn't do a whole lot, with there only being 1 blue player at the table. And speaking about cards that didn't do anything, unfortunately for Drew, he didn't have a counterspell that stopped enchantments after he spent his swan song. And all the cards, albeit the small amount that he drew off usury, were almost all lands. So without him being able to use his commander for card draw, basically just ran out of gas. And that was it, unfortunately. And before everyone leaves, I want to thank our special patron members, Josh Schutt, Sly Fox, and Tango Down, for their support of the channel, along with all of our other Patreon supporters as well. And as always, I want to thank all the players who joined for the games. And remember, never give up, even if you're dead on board. I'll see you guys later.